I made a terrible mistake, one I can never undo. During a night when my husband and I were both drunk and high, I said something that cut him deeply, something no wife should ever say to her husband. My husband is 32, I'm 34, and we've always had a strong bond. But that night, everything changed. We were in the middle of a heated conversation when he asked me if I wanted something big. Without thinking, and for reasons I can't even explain, I blurted out, something bigger would be nice. The words spilled out before I could stop them. In hindsight, there was truth to what I said. Yes, a bigger size might be ideal, but I never thought his size was inadequate. I married him after all. I've always been satisfied with him. But that one careless remark unraveled everything. It's been 3 weeks since that night, and things have never been the same. All forms of intimacy between us, vocal, physical, and sexual, have completely evaporated. He barely looks at me. Most of his time at home is now spent in our garage, which he uses as a playroom. It feels like he's avoiding me entirely. Every time I try to apologize or reassure him, he doesn't trust my words. He feels like my attempts to mend things are insincere, forced. He's confessed that he feels unworthy, like I settled for him. Worse, he believes that all the times I enjoyed intimacy with him were lies, something I could never convince him otherwise. I've always loved being with him in every way, but now he doesn't believe me. I've come to realize that my words weren't just hurtful, they were permanently damaging. Every time he gets undressed or aroused, those words haunt him. He told me that no matter what I say, he can't shake the feeling that he's not enough. It's like a shadow looming over us, one that won't go away. I asked myself how I'd feel if he had said something similar to me, if he wished I had a tighter body or looked a certain way. I'd be shattered. I'd never look at myself or our relationship the same way again. It's a horrible feeling to know I inflicted that same pain on him. In the days after the incident, I desperately tried to fix things. I apologized profusely, told him I loved him, and even suggested marriage counseling. When I brought it up, he just shook his head, rolled his eyes, and walked away. It was clear he didn't want to try. I felt completely helpless. I decided to see a counselor on my own, hoping for some kind of guidance. She listened to my story and gently told me that situations like ours rarely recover. In her experience, very few couples make it past this kind of wound. She suggested I see a divorce lawyer, though I wasn't ready to give up yet. She also advised me to act as normal as possible at home, smile at him, show him kindness, and avoid pressuring him. Her reasoning was that any sense of pushing or guilt might make him pull away further. So, I followed her advice, even though it hurt to pretend everything was fine when it clearly wasn't. I know I've made the biggest mistake of my life. I can't undo the pain I caused him, and I don't know if our marriage will survive. But I love him, and I'll keep trying until I have no choice but to let go. For now, all I can do is hope he sees how much I care and give him the space he needs to heal. I tried everything I could to make things right, but it seemed hopeless. Yesterday morning, the weight of everything was crushing me. I was in a terrible emotional state, feeling the full impact of how deeply I'd hurt my husband and how much I'd damaged our marriage. He came into the house after being in the garage to take a shower, and when he was done, I begged him, desperately, to look at me, to talk to me, to say anything at all. He ignored me completely. I lost control of my emotions and screamed, pleading with him to say something, anything. His response shattered me. He told me to go F myself, and said he didn't care anymore. He added coldly that the only reason he hadn't filed for divorce was because he didn't want me taking the house or his money. Hearing those words was like a knife to the chest. I tried to reason with him, to point out how harsh he was being, but he cut me off, saying he meant every word. Then he told me to stop trying, to stop bothering him, and to just leave him alone. At that moment, I knew I had truly destroyed our marriage. I felt an unbearable wave of guilt and regret for the pain I caused him. I couldn't stop thinking about how much I had broken the man I loved. All I could do was hope that I hadn't damaged him permanently, that he wouldn't carry this pain for the rest of his life. Later, I took some time to reflect and read through the advice and support others had offered me. I need to clarify something. When I mentioned my therapist, I didn't mean to imply that she pushed me toward divorce. She simply told me to be prepared for it as a possibility and advised me to act normal for the time being, to avoid pushing him further away. Then, something unexpected happened. My husband came to our bedroom late that night, and I could see he had been crying. He sat down and told me he loves me. He admitted that he said far worse things to me than what I said to him. With tears in his eyes, he apologized, truly, deeply apologized, and told me he doesn't want a divorce. However, he also said he still needs more time and space to process everything. He wants to keep spending time in the garage, retreating from it all for now. Some people have criticized me for using the term sulking, but I need to clarify, that's his word, not mine. It's a term we've both used casually in the past, and I didn't mean it disrespectfully. Despite everything, this small step forward gives me hope. I'm going to respect his need for space while continuing to show him how much I love him. I just hope it's not too late to rebuild what we've lost.